Welcome back to the finale of What If the Separatists Joined the Rebels. Thank you for your great support on all the other parts. If you aren't aware of those, or are not subscribed, please do those first before watching this video. Vader was wary of being on the receiving end of his master's punishments, and decided he wanted immediate revenge on the opponents on Geonosis. The Sith apprentice knew not to underestimate the Geonosians this time around, and equipped himself with an elite group of Imperial troopers, whilst he dealt with Poggle. Palpatine wanted the Separatists alive, and as he landed by the secret hideout previously used by Dooku, the attack is a surprise, and Vader lifts the Geonosian into the air. Grasping his throat, he places him in the hands of the stormtroopers, then leaves the rest of his troops to deal with the area, knowing that the Jedi were nowhere near. The former Jedi Knight dragged Poggle onto the bridge and in front of the hologram of Sidious, then began to torture him for information on the Separatist operations. Poggle could not resist the power of the dark side and revealed almost everything, from his collaboration with the Rebel Alliance to the resurrection of the decommissioned Droid Army before he was thrown into a cell. From the planet of Alderaan, Yoda had been meditating in his quarters when he heard the long-lost voice of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn again. The wise Jedi informed Yoda that they were in danger, and they spared no time in evacuating the planet just before a trifecta of Imperial Star Destroyers left hyperspace and cast a large and ominous shadow over the planet. Fortunately for the Rebel Alliance, the Separatists had placed tracking beacons on all of their leaders, and even though Poggles had been recently destroyed, the previous location pointed to the skies of Tatooine, conveniently close to Geonosis. The recent reports of the beginning of the construction of the Death Star had forced the rebels to emerge, as they did not have the resources to match the technological superweapon, so they gathered all of their starfighters, some still in the specifications of the Clone War era. Obi-Wan was well aware of the strategies of his former apprentice, and he knew that the strength of the rebels would be to attack the Empire by surprise. Deploying one of the older Venator-class Star Destroyers over Geonosis, the attention of the Empire is drawn towards it, and upon the command of those aboard, the main fleet leaves hyperspace and begins a major assault on the blind side of the Imperial fleet hovering above Tatooine. The initial surprise works for the rebels, as they manage to wipe out a portion of the fleet, but Vader's Devastator still remained a threat. The Jedi began to close in with one of their old Republic gunships, before tumbling into the hangar of the destroyer and finding the Sith apprentice in front of them again. Unlike their previous encounter, however, from behind Vader emerged Darth Sidious, looking at the rebels with disdain. Extending his fingertips, Sith magic coloured the entire area in a blue haze, and they all ducked for cover behind a group of cargo crates. Yoda led the counterattack as he deflected the magic using his hands, and Palpatine ignited his blades to cut through the rebel officers, then push Ahsoka and Obi-Wan into an Imperial fighter. Yoda is struggling against the two Sith, and hope for the light was fading into darkness, when from the chaotic aerial battle, a Naboo starskiff gracefully landed beside the remains of their gunship. The combatants stopped to watch who had dared to interrupt them, and it was the former Senator of Naboo, Padme Amidala. Vader looked at his master with hate, as he had been continuously told that he had driven her to her death with his anger, but here she was, completely healthy. Palpatine was about to send Sith Lightning at Padme, but Vader stepped in between them to absorb the attack with his hand. Vader had seen through the lies of his master, and stalked towards Palpatine, who believed to the very end that he could not be defeated, but Vader reached for his lightsaber, and sliced the head off of the Dark Lord of the Sith. Yoda went to assist the injured Rebel Force sensitives, whilst Padme cautiously guided Vader into her ship and showed him their children, before returning to the Rebel fleet. A small freighter arrived to collect Yoda, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and together they ensured that Vader was not shot to pieces by the rebels, and subsequently put on trial for his crimes. As the Empire began to crumble without their leadership, Vader avoided being sentenced to death due to the forgiving Jedi, but was placed under constant supervision. The territories no longer occupied by the Empire were divided in their control between the rebels and the Separatists, whom no longer had their initial ambitious plans, but were pleased to live their lives in comfort, as their allied rebels began the road to fixing the galaxy. That is it for What If the Separatists Joined the Rebels. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on the notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel for more What Ifs, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.